Welcome students to our new YouTube channel Pharmatech, the division of excellence. So let's start to our first and most important subject for GPAT, which is pharmaceutics. So let's see what is pharmaceutics. The pharmaceutics, it is a discipline of pharmacy that deals with the process of turning a new chemical entity, that means NCE, or old drugs into a medication to be used safely and effectively by patients. It is also called science of dosage form design. In pharmaceutics, we study first sub-branch of pharmaceutics, which is physical pharmaceutics, in which we study 7 different topics such as micromeritics and powder rheology. Second, surface and interfacial tension. Third, states of matter. 4. Viscosity and rheology. 5. Dispersion system. 6. Complexation. 7. Kinetics and drug stability. So, first we start with the most important chapter, that means micromeritics and powder rheology. So, let's see what is micromeritics and powder rheology. Micromeritics is the science and technology which deals with small particles. There are two types of properties for a particle to characterize. That means first, fundamental properties: surface area, particle size and distribution, particle number, particle volume, particle shape. And second, which is derived properties. In derived properties, porosity, density, bulkiness, flow property, packaging arrangements. Third, in particle size and particle size distribution. Particle size is quoted as the diameter of the sphere that has same weight based on diameter, or same volume based diameter, or same surface area based diameter, or same drag coefficient, sedimentation velocity, hydrodynamic or aerodynamic based diameter to the given particle. Let's see types of powder according to particle size. First, monodispersed powder. All particles are same size. Second, polydispersed powder. The particles of different size. Generally, powder sample contain number of irregular shaped three-dimensional particles. So we generally consider average particle size. The average particle size of the particle which are distributed in the system. Let's see the methods for particle size determination. The first method, which is microscopy, in that size range is 0.2 to 100 micron. The instrument is optical microscope, comment Ferret Martin, and projected diameter measured. Second method is sieving. The size range is 50 to 1500 micron. The instrument which is used is mechanical shaker. The third method is sedimentation. The size range is 1 to 200 micron. The instrument which is used for sedimentation is Anderson pipette, gravity sedimentation base. The comet is measured for stroke diameter measured. The fourth method is conductivity. The size range is 0.5 to 500 micron. The instrument which is used to measure conductivity is Coulter counter or Royko or HIAC. Comment: it is equivalent volume diameter measured. Then let's see what is microscopy. In microscopy, first, the range of analysis by transmission electron microscope 0.001 to 0.1 micron. Second, by scanning electron microscope 0.01 to 1000 micron. Third, by light microscope 1 to 1000 micron. The advantages of microscopy is it is easy and convenient method. Second, a size frequency distribution curve can be plotted by counting the number of particles in a size range. Third, it can detect the presence of agglomerates and particles of more than one component. The disadvantages of microscopy are: first, the diameter is obtained from only two dimensions, length and breadth. Second, no estimation of the depth thickness of particle is available. The number of particles that must be counted to get a good estimate of the distribution makes the method slow and tedious. The second is sieving. This method utilizes a series of standard sieves calibrated by the National Bureau of Standards. The range of analysis in sieving, we obtain particle size range 5 to 12,000 micrometer (μm) in that air jet sieving method. Another type of sieve analysis called air jet sieving uses individual sieve rather than a complete nest of sieves. A reverse air jet circulator beneath the sieve mesh, blowing oversized particles away from the mesh to blocking. It is better than mechanically vibrated sieve analysis, although with finer particle agglomeration can become a problem. Third, the sedimentation. Particle size may be indirectly determined by measurement of rate of sedimentation in a gravitational field. A number of classical techniques based on sedimentation method utilizing devices such as Anderson pipette or recording balances. Stokes gave a theoretical description of the motion of falling under the influence of gravity. Stokes' law of sedimentation, rate of settling, where d is the diameter of particle, n is density of particle, naught is density of liquid, and n is viscosity of liquid. It is used only for dilute suspension, that means less than 2% dispersed particle. Fourth, elytration. Elytration is a procedure in which the fluid moves in the direction opposite to sedimentation movement, so that in the gravitational force the particle will move vertically downwards and fluid moves vertically upward. If velocity of fluid is higher than the particle are carried upwards and vice versa. 5. Fifth, electronic scanning zone, Coulter counter method. Particles are suspended in electrically conductive fluid. The suspension flows through suitable aperture with an immersed electrode on either side, and particle concentration is arranged so that one particle travels at a time. When the particle passes, some resistance is seen and the change is measured as particle. Coulter counter. When a suspended particle travels across the orifice, it displaces its own volume of electrolyte. This causes change in electrical resistance. Its main advantages are fastest counting, second, 1000 particles counted in 1 second, third, more reliable sense number of particles are counted, fourth, to study particle growth and dissolution and the effect of antibacterial agent on the growth of microorganism. 6. Surface method. Take some powder and add air and liquid to it. Powder absorbs liquid and air monomolecular layer on its surface. This absorbed volume can give mean of powder's particle size. 7th, fluid classification method. A number of size analysis method for powder in the subsieve depend on movement of the particle in a fluid. The behavior of sphere in a fluid can be expressed by Stokes' law. There are several cumulative methods such as pipette method, second hydrometer method, third pressure method, fourth turbidimetric method. 8. Laser light scattering methods. In this method, the particle can be presented either in liquid or in air suspension. Both the large particle and small particle analyzers are based on the interaction of laser light with particles. ROICO HIAC based on light blockage principle. 9th, X-ray diffraction method. In X-ray diffraction method, the principle is an X-ray irradiation produces a highly specific diffraction pattern from a crystal of material. An X-ray diffraction pattern from the crystal is formed and a series of dots of varying intensity with fixed angular and is recorded on photographic film. It is a powerful tool for particle size analysis, and its advantages are very sensitive and it is used in the identification of polymorphs. Second, its disadvantages are it is very expensive. The next, cascade impaction. The size range of cascade impaction is 0.1 to 80 microns. The materials are particles of all kind of use in cascade impaction. It can be used to obtain the size distribution of an aerosol. Air samples are withdrawn through devices which consist of several stages on which particles are deposited on impaction plate. Particles will impact on certain stage depending on their size. Conclusion: this method is suitable to determine the distribution of particle size of respirable size. Then next, 11th, rotating drum method. Material, dry powder, granulates, friable products. The size range is 0.5 to 10,000 microns. This method is suitable to determine the distribution of particles of respirable or inhalable size. Then next we see that properties of drug that are affected by particle size and particle size distribution. In that, first, surface area. Second, density, porosity and compressibility. Third, angle of repose and flow property. Fourth, bulkiness and packaging criteria. Fifth, hygroscopicity. Sixth, electrostatic charge. Next, first, surface area. As the particle size decreases, the surface area of the particles increases. Surface area is important for drug absorption, dissolution, solubility and bioavailability. The particle size and surface area of drug exposed to the medium, it can affect actual solubility. The equation is used to estimate the decrease in particle size required to increase in solubility. The next, Navier-Stokes equation. dC by dt is equal to Ks in bracket Cs minus Cr. dC by dt is rate of dissolution. K, it means dissolution rate constant. S means surface area. Cs, concentration of drug in immediate proximity of dissolving particle, that is solubility of drug. Cf, concentration of drug in a fluid. According to Navier-Stokes equation, increase in the total surface area of drug in contact with GIF will causes increase in dissolution rate because of particle initially weighted by gastrointestinal fluid. The effective surface area exhibited by drug is directly proportional to the particle size. Then hence, the smaller the particle size, greater will be effective surface area and higher dissolution rate, and it will result in higher bioavailability. Drugs which increases the bioavailability by particle reduction are sulfadiazine, phenothiazine, tolbutamide, nitrofurantoin. The next, surface area determination. First, adsorption method. In that, the amount of gas, nitrogen or argon gas or liquid solute that is adsorbed onto sample of powder to form a monolayer is directly the function of surface area. Quantasorb is instrument is used for adsorption method of surface area determination. Second, the air permeability method. The rate at which gas or liquid permeates a bed of powder is calculated. Resistance to flow of fluid through a plug of compact powder is the surface area of powder. Next, porosity. True volume, volume of powder itself. Granule volume, volume of powder itself plus the volume of intra-particle space or pore. Bulk volume, volume of powder itself plus the volume of intraparticle space or pore plus volume of interparticle space void. Void volume is equal to bulk volume minus true volume. The void volume is difference between bulk and true volume. The next types of densities. The types of densities are true density, that the helium pycnometer, porous solid, liquid displacement, non-porous solid. Second, granule density, mercury displacement method is used. Third, bulk density, graduated cylinder method based on tapping the powder from 1 inch height thrice in 2-minute interval is used. Bulkiness and packaging. As the particle size increases, the bulkiness decreases. It is a reciprocal of bulk density. Uniformity of powder blend is important. If not, then smaller particle takes place in space between large particle that decreases bulkiness. Bulk property also important for packaging criteria for powder. Powder flow property measurements. First, percent compressibility. Compressibility is the ability of powder to decrease volume under pressure. Compressibility is a measure that is obtained from density determination. Second, percent compressibility. The tapped bulk density minus poured or untapped or aerated bulk density upon tapped bulk density into 100. Compressibility measure gives idea about flow property of the granules as per Carr's index, which is as follows. The Carr's index percent compressibility 5 to 15, it is excellent free flowing granules. Second, the 12 to 16%, it is good free flowing powder granules. Third, 18 to 21, it is fair powder granules. Fourth, 23 to 28, poor very fluid powders. Fifth, 28 to 35, poor fluid cohesive powder. 6, 35 to 38, very poor fluid cohesive. 7th, greater than 40, extremely poor cohesive powder. Then second is Hausner's ratio. It is a very important parameter to be measured since it affects the mass of uniformity of the dose. It is usually predicted from Hausner's ratio and angle of repose measurement. Hausner's ratio it is equal to tap density upon bulk density. As per Hausner's ratio, the Hausner's ratio is less than 1.25, then there is good flow, and in between 1.25 to 1.5 it is moderated flow, and more than 1.5 it is poor flow. The key points about density are: light powders means low bulk density or large bulk volume. Heavy powders means high bulk density or low bulk volume. True density is equal to is greater than granule density greater than bulk density. Third, angle of repose. Angle of repose is the maximum angle between the surface of pile of powder and horizontal plane. It is usually determined by fixed funnel method and is the measure of the flowability of powder granules. Tan it is theta is equal to tan inverse in bracket h upon r, that means height upon radius, where h is height of heap of pile and r is radius of base of pile. The measurement methods for angle of repose are rotating cylinder method, second tilted method, box method, and third fixed cone method. Relation between angle of repose and type of flow and type of powder. Angle of repose is less than 25, the flow type of flow is excellent and type of powder is non-cohesive. The repose angle of repose is between 25 to 30, the flow is good, and in angle of repose is 30 to 40, the flow type is passable, the type of powder is cohesive, and the angle of repose is greater than 40, the type of flow is very poor, the type of powder is very cohesive. The grades of powder course. sieve through which all particle must pass, course 10. Sieve through which not more than 40% of particle size pass, in course that means 14. The relative course is. Welcome students to our new YouTube channel.